move, smack 'em, cool, quiet.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the NBA Recap. Let's start back into the video, back into the episode. But first, I want to talk about how I have officially rebranded my channel. My channel is now called Can Dunk TV. Get it? Because Can Dunk TV, Can Dunk TV, which is in my name. So, I rebranded it. I have a new profile pic. I did my channel. So now I have a lot of stuff, and my hair looks crazy right there. But now I have a lot of stuff that I'm going to talk about, and my head really does look crazy. Jeez. My hair looks crazy. But, yeah. This is... I've completely rebranded my channel to make it more interactive for people to come and see and watch. My views have been terrible these my last like 10 videos. So I'd be really appreciative if you subscribe, tell your friends about the new channel name that I have now, and let me know in the comment section. I'm trying to make a schedule of when I should post, because posting every day is actually really hard. I understand why people don't really do it as much, but I get it. So now I'm going to try and do my best to create some new content and create new videos that people would very much like to see. But today I'm going to talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Now I was hoodie a couple of videos ago, and I had to wear it again because it's primarily about the Brooklyn Nets. So we're going to talk about how the Nets have somehow become the villains of the NBA by adding guys like Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and obviously the most notable signing in James Harden. Now, I think this will be a very interesting video, so please let me know in the comments if you agree. But without further ado, let's get into this topic. Now, we all know the major, ginormous trade that the Brooklyn Nets have made with the season prior to obviously the trade deadline and to the buyout marketplace. They signed James Harden for Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and then some picks. A lot of picks. I can't remember off the top of my head, but a lot of picks. Now, obviously, this is a blockbuster of a trade because they got guys in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant already on the team. So, the new super team was yet again formed right after LeBron James won his championship, which I'll get into later. But they took it a step further. In the buyout market, they got a guy in Blake Griffin from the Detroit Pistons who was playing absolutely dog shit for the Pistons, and he came to the Nets for a supposed title chase or ring chase. Then they went even deeper by getting a guy in LaMarcus Aldridge who was a buyout candidate from the San Antonio Spurs because they bought him out obviously because they're going to a young unit type of future, and they wanted him out because he was old and wasn't really producing as much as he was prior to his buyout, now placement. But then the Brooklyn Nets, being who they were, decided to sign him to a minimum deal so that he can help them on their title chances. Now, when people saw the Blake Griffin, when people saw the James Harden signing, people were a little skeptical about it, but people were obviously like, oh, here we go again. The NBA is ruined again. The super team has been created once again. But not everyone was insanely like, oh my gosh, about it, because there were several flaws with this team. But then they added Blake Griffin, a guy who had apparently had not dunked in 2 years, came in, they got him, and it was a pretty decent buyout guy on their market. Now, obviously, people had their opinions about it. It's like, oh my gosh, if this man starts lob dunking again, I want the entire NBA investigated. I was trolling on Twitter a little bit because I was like, I doubt it. But at the same time, it was notable signing, another big name added to their roster. Now, obviously, people were raging about this as well, but people weren't going insane because they knew what Blake Griffin was at this point in his career. Not very good. But LaMarcus already got signed. And that's when people were like, come on, man. Come on. Another name? Now, this is where all this stuff starts sparking of, oh, they're scared of LeBron James. LeBron James, once again, scared of LeBron James. But I think that in a sense, small sense, it has a little bit to do with LeBron James. Now, me personally, I will never listen. I will never say that's the primary goal is beating LeBron James because the Brooklyn Nets, as they were constructed even before the James Harden trade, I don't think they as was worried about the Utah Jazz in the West. I don't think they as was worried about the. Well, they might have been a little bit worried about the Clippers. I don't think they're as really worried about the Suns. I don't think they're as really worried about Denver Nuggets. Okay, especially when they got James Harden. I don't think they're as worried about anyone except for probably the defending champions, the Los Angeles Lakers, who ironically have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now, NBA Twitter was kind of going crazy because these big names got signed and how they formed yet another super team, stacking up, loading up. But I feel like we'd be and I feel obviously they want to win a championship. But I feel like as much as as much as I hate to admit it, we cannot be ignorant enough to deny that it has at least a little bit to do with LeBron James. Because there's this notion that every time LeBron James wins a championship, a mega super team is formed to try and stop him from winning yet another championship. It stemmed all the way from his first final in 2007, and now we're resurfacing all the way here in 2021, where he's the defending champion and he's now front runner to win the championship again, and now a team must load up to defeat him. Now, as a Nets fan, I was watching this thing going on Twitter. Mainly sometimes I was trolling, but most of the time I was just like, really? And some things came up that the Brooklyn Nets are afraid of LeBron James. And I thought that was absolutely ludicrous. Nobody's afraid about playing LeBron James. Nobody's afraid about playing anybody. But like I said before, I feel like we'd be ignorant to say that like it has nothing to do with LeBron James because at the end of the day, LeBron James is the face of the NBA, and we hate it. I mean, we all see it that way. Sadly, I mean, some people will deny it, but obviously we all know it's true. He is the face of the NBA, and he is the guy that's currently the champion. And we all know his skill set. We all know that he somehow manages to carry any team to the finals, and it's really great that he does that. However, people do not like the fact that he does go to the championship and how he's able to do his things with a team like that. But in the sense of the Brooklyn Nets, I think their primary goal, I think the reason why there is like this controversy is that people, I think the main people are afraid that since Blake Griffin was in an unsuccessful situation in Detroit and he was playing bad in Detroit to leave, he'd be way better with the Brooklyn Nets. He'll start playing like he usually plays with the Brooklyn Nets. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge, a guy who was at least now coming off the bench for the San Antonio Spurs, would play significantly better when on a winning situation. Now, me personally, I believe that's BS because the Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge are not good anymore. However, however, in this situation, I think that they're not even the fifth, they're not even the fourth option. So I believe that they will excel more in their roles rather than being like the number one option on their respective teams like they were before. But to me, this is different. You know, as much as I was one of the guys that hated Kevin Durant for going to Golden State, I absolutely thought it was ludicrous that he went to Golden State. I really did not appreciate the fact that he did. But it's over now, and he's went there. He won his two championships. Probably would have won a third one. Moved on to start his own team with the Brooklyn Nets taking along Kyrie Irving. I think the controversy even comes even more because Kevin Durant, a tweet for some years ago was like, "Why is everyone going to the Lakers or the Heat, man? Shouldn't the league be balanced?" But now he's creating his own team with Kyrie Irving, James Harden, Blake Griffin, LaMarcus Aldridge, and co. And I believe that there is a bit of contradicting on Kevin Durant's part because he said at one time that he does a lot by himself. He'd rather not be the one that gets all the teammates. But he then contradicts himself by going to the Brooklyn Nets and creating his own team, which is his main goal for going to the Brooklyn Nets was that he can do it by himself without a severe amount of help. Obviously, you need at least one star, which is in that case was Kyrie Irving. But he gained guys like James Harden, which he signed up for. I think that people said that it wasn't like the Kevin Durant stands, the Kevin Durant like mega fans would say, well, he didn't think that he didn't know James Harden was going to come to that team. False. Because do you really think that Sean Marks, our GM for the Brooklyn Nets, would not go to Kevin Durant to see if James Harden was eligible to come to that team? Are you stupid? There's no way in hell that James Harden would be on the Brooklyn Nets right now if Kevin Durant did not give his okay. Same thing with Blake Griffin. There is no way in hell that Kevin Durant would not be in lieu of the decision of Blake Griffin onto the team. Same thing with LaMarcus Aldridge. There is no way in hell that LaMarcus Aldridge would be on this team right now if Kevin Durant did not give his okay on it. I think it's for the simple fact that like people don't like. I think it really stems for the fact that KD went to Golden State, and then he won his 2 championships. Obviously, he went to a stacked team. Nobody in hell was beating them. But then he was like, all right, I'm done with this. I'm going to go to the Brooklyn Nets, start my own team, and beat my way all the way to the finals to meet the eventual champion, LeBron James. But people think he's contradicting himself because he got James Harden, Blake Griffin, Marcus Aldridge stacking up the deck to beat the favorites in the West, which are the Los Angeles Lakers. Now I think that for this is just the budding rivalry between LeBron James and Kevin Durant, because everyone views LeBron James as the number 1 guy and Kevin Durant is the number 2 guy. Now, but obviously, in my opinion, the Brooklyn Nets, honestly, you'll see many guys on television stations saying, "Oh, they're undefeatable, they're unguardable." I'm not. The last team I saw that seemed unbeatable to me was the Golden State Warriors with Kevin Durant. But this team isn't as strong as that team. Maybe offensively they're goated, but as far as defensively, they're not. The Golden State Warriors were top 5 and top 5 for offensive and defensive ratings, respectively. But the Brooklyn Nets are different. They do not have the defensive forces that many teams in the past have. So I think this team is very vulnerable as far as that end of the court. And when you're in a playoff game and the game slows down, every possession counts. It's not just going to be a fast break party every time. It's going to be times where you're going to be in the half court set and you're going to have to play some really solid defense to stop the other team from scoring. Now, as I turn to LeBron James, I think, like I said in the beginning of the video, I think we'd be kind of ignorant to think that nothing has to do with LeBron James. I think we're kind of ignorant to it. I know we don't want it to be that way, but we all had to come to the terms that it has at least a little bit to do with LeBron James. Because personally, I wouldn't want to see LeBron James win all the time. That's just me. But at the same time, many fans who hate LeBron James would not want him to win all the time. I think that we have to sometimes come to terms that we have to come to terms with the fact that everything is gonna, especially him being the defending champions with his Los Angeles Lakers. He has a crew with Anthony Davis and now a newly acquired addition in Drummond. They are the team to beat, at least in the West. And as far as the championship goes, we won't know what's going to happen at that point. But we're just going to have to find out and see if these things are true and who's telling the truth. But that was that for this video, man. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure you turn on your post notifications so you know when I post. We're now called Ken Dunk TV. So this is my new channel. This is my new and improved channel, man. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, we out. Peace.
Why do they get up and leave? Tell you they love you, then get up and leave. I show the loyalty.